Okay, so my name is John Kavanagh and I'm with Lorna Lawless, who is a coaching psychologist. Do I have that correct?
You do.
So with the Wimp series, we see very dramatic physical changes. For example, we're only through our first week on this season, and as a group they've lost nearly 60 kilos. That's over 120 pounds for you Americans that haven't caught up yet. But one thing we haven't kept track of, which is actually, I think, more important, and we actually have more dramatic changes, is the psychological changes that happens to contestants over a 22-week training program. And that's really, to be honest, what Wimp to Warrior is about. It's not just a body transformation, it's supposed to be a mental transformation as well. And the changes that happen over that period is going to be something that will stay with the contestants for the rest of their life. So we're going to have a little chat about that today, because we have something exciting we're going to be able to offer contestants moving forward. So Lorna, I know it's not an easy question, but to start off, what does a coaching psychologist do?
Well, a coaching psychologist will generally apply studies and theories from the field of positive psychology. So it's all about kind of moving forward. A lot of traditional psychology can focus on the past, and positive psychology and coaching psychologists will help an individual establish goals and get from A to B. So everybody's goals can be different. It can be work, it can be fitness, it could be lifestyle habit changes that you'd like to make. So a coaching psychologist will basically apply the theory from positive psychology to help an individual achieve those goals.
Okay, and who would typically go to a coaching psychologist?
Well, athletes for one. Typically it's within the field of business and sports is where it's most commonly applied. More so in business, I suppose, because it's all about leadership, team development, self-awareness if you are in executive kind of position. That's where coaching psychology will be most popularly applied.
All right, now specifically for Wimp to Warrior, you've come up with a proposal, an idea.
Yes.
Where we'll have, it won't be open to some of the contestants. Mm-hmm. So do you want to give a little bit of spiel on what it's about?
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, the benefits from participating in something like Wimp to Warrior is far more kind of outweighs, excuse the pun, the physical sides. So when I came on board last year in season 2, and I did a couple of weeks, and what I really noticed was the mental toughness that these people were exhibiting. And when we spoke, they often reflected on how far they'd come, so the journey so far. And that's also abundant when you see the testimonials on the Wimp to Warrior website and stuff like that. So I kind of thought, wouldn't it be interesting to give them the opportunity to measure how far they've come in the same way that they have with their physical development. So like at the start of the program, the way they have their weight took and inches measured and stuff like that. I kind of thought it would be nice to give people a chance to assess the development of their mental toughness while on this program. So I use a psychometric test called the MTQ-48, which is the Mental Toughness Questionnaire. It primarily focuses on 4 areas, so it's your levels of confidence, commitment, control and challenge. And what you will get is, it's a self-assessment test. So when at the start people can fill out their initial assessment, we'll go through the feedback with them, much like with a strength and conditioning coach, and then an individual tailored plan down to their own profile can be developed as to how they can best increase levels in those 4 areas. And then in the middle of the 22 weeks, we will have a check-in, see how everybody's doing, and plan forward. Obviously, many things can come up within those 10 weeks for people, be it in work or family, or to do with the actual training program. If they've developed any sort of anxiety about the fight, or anything like that, their performance on the night. So there's lots of different areas that people may choose to look at. And then on their 3rd session, the idea is to give them the mental toughness test again, and see they'll be able to compare from a beginning and entry, upon entrance and exit of the Wimp to Warrior program, how far their mental toughness has come along.
Great. And would the final one be after the fight, or would you do it before the fight?
That's funny. I actually was discussing that with Richie as to which way to do that best. I suggested before, he suggested after. So I think we'll look at that maybe a little bit closer to the time. And I think if it's to be after, it'll definitely be a week or two after, or a week or two before. And the fear of that is you don't want the result of fight night to influence.
I get you, yeah, that makes sense.
Your overall development for the 22 weeks. Richie's argument is they'll be too excited before the fight to get an accurate measure. And mine was obviously the opposite for after, so because it depends on how fight night goes. But obviously that's not going to reflect your overall experience. So we might get you in on that debate as well to see what you.
So we start off with an initial assessment. It gives them a marker where they are.
Yeah.
Then you'll give them certain tasks or goals or whatever to work on. Areas to improve on depending on their individual profile.
It'll be a personal development. Yeah.
Then midway through, I suppose when we're starting fight camp, you'll see them again and talk about maybe challenges you've met along the way and maybe that's when anxiety usually starts kicking in about fight night and giving them
the reality of it all.
The reality of it all coming in. So you'll get them certain, tasks and goals to aim for and exercises they can do so as to prepare for fight night.
Yeah.
And then finally, evaluate them again. And for me, I like the scales for physical changes because it doesn't lie. You can step on the scales and you can see the physical changes, and this is an equivalent stepping on the mental scales.
Yeah,
see the improvements.
Yeah, I like that actually. Yeah, it's a quantifiable result.
A quantifiable result. That's what I was struggling to say there. I think I'd be leaning as well towards the week before the fight doing it. That makes sense to me. I'll have a chat with Crenny about that and see if we can twist it.
Yeah, we'll see if we can all come to a consensus.
Okay, well, I think that sort of wraps that up. That answers questions people would have. It's something pretty much all of my fight team at some stage will see a sports psychologist or coaching psychologist, because it's as important, if not a more important area than just the physical side of things. I remember we had ex-world champion Steve Collins out here, and he said to me he'd much rather have a fighter who was 50% physical ready for a fight but 100% mental ready than the other way around. Somebody who was physically 100% but mentally not there. And actually one thing that maybe just to wrap up on, what would you say to people that when you hear something like that, they think that's for weak people? That's, when I deal with young fighters, they can sometimes be a bit hesitant to ask for help on the mental side of things, which they of course shouldn't be. If you need help on the physical side of training, you put your hand up immediately. But if you need help on the mental side of things, maybe they don't want to admit to having anxiety issues or whatever. And what would you say to people that think that's just for weak people?
I would say it's absolutely not. It's for everybody. And this is something that is for you. It's confidential. It won't be shared with anybody else. And so it's an opportunity to not mark yourself against the person next to you and just focus on yourself. Mental toughness can benefit everybody in every aspect, and I do think that's one of the key things from participating in a program like this. It's not just how it's going to help you out with Wimp to Warrior or anxiety on fight night. It's going to outflow into many areas of your life.
Good point.
So it is learning mental skills, just like you learn physical skills in MMA. So I would say it's for anybody who would like to develop that side of themselves further.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Get in touch with Richie to get on to be part of the program. Thank you.
Thank you.